Okay, I'm recording. Okay, welcome to 30 Days, 30 Ways UK, the third session, the third panel. My name's Joanne Madams. I'm the Emergency Planning and Business Continuity Manager for West Northants Council, but I'm also a co-founder of 30 Days, 30 Ways UK. For this panel, I'm joined by Darren Carson. Welcome, Darren. Darren is a team leader for prevention for Northamptonshire Fire and Rescue Service. Hello, Darren.
Hiya, Joe, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're welcoming back Tina Collett, who's also a team leader for prevention from Northamptonshire Fire and Rescue Service. Welcome back, Tina.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Joe. Thanks for having me back.
That's all right. Tina was here last session last week. This session we're having a bit of a catch up for this week, and we were going to be talking about water safety, road safety, and fire safety, and then a few other bits for what's happening over the weekend. Now, these are really serious points, and we're also joined by Dawn Whitaker. Welcome, Dawn. Dawn is the Chief Fire Officer for East Sussex Fire and Rescue Service. Welcome, Dawn. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, and apologies for my IT challenges this morning and this afternoon.
No worries. I'm so pleased that you could make it. Dawn, I know you're the Chief Fire Officer for East Sussex down there, but you also got a sort of your can you call it a passion about sort of drowning prevention, and you're sort of UK known for your work that you do around that. So thank you for joining this session. Like I said, we're going to be talking about water safety, road safety, and fire safety for this session. Now, the RLSSS National Drowning Prevention reports out, and there was 226 water-related accidents, fatalities last year, and 19 happened over 4 days. And we'll come back to you and Darren in a minute to talk about that. There was also 334 fire-related fatalities in the UK between 2021 and 2022. And then the road safety, we had 1,695 fatalities on our roads in 2022, and 38% of these were the driver or rider not looking properly, and that involved 430 pedestrians that sadly lost their lives on our roads. So very key topics this week. So I'd like to come to Darren and Dawn. I don't know who wants to start this off about drowning prevention and how we can perhaps change the way we look at, trying to get people. I mean, we are sort of having a mini heat wave in September, and most of these sort of drowning preventions come when the weather gets a little bit hotter. I mean, what can we be doing? Dawn, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, and just before I mention that, Joe, it's probably worth saying that actually the total number of drownings in the UK last year were 597. The published number that you've referred to there are actually the accidental drownings, but there are natural causes, obviously suicide, drownings, and also crimes as well. So the total number is considerably higher. In terms of what we do, obviously we work together, Fire and Rescue, work hard with other agencies through the National Water Safety Forum and through local community safety partnerships to try and ensure that the right messages are in place at particular times of the year where we know there's going to be peaks. And you've alluded to the weather, which is always one. Hot weather tends to attract people to water. Also post-exam period, and also the other issue, and we've just started the RLSS Don't Drink or Drown Week, because young people have gone off to universities in a town that they don't particularly know. We've got freshers events going on, and alcohol and water don't mix, as we know. So weather is one driving factor. Going to university and post-exams is another. Actually, bad weather is another, and I'm sure anybody watching this will remember the incident up at Babs Mill in the West Midlands just last year, where we sadly lost 4 people through a pond, through ice. And actually, even on the coast with bad weather, people go down to photograph the waves crashing over, the sides of the waterside. And unfortunately, every year somebody gets washed in, and then we have to count on the Coast Guard or the RNLI to pluck them out. So there are a number of factors. I think the key thing for us is education, education, and education. And there's some great work going on around the country, and Northamptonshire, I know, is at the vanguard of that. I know personally, having worked there, how important it's considered in Northamptonshire. Lots of water. In fact, I think it's one of the counties with the most water actually around the UK. I just happen to have a large coastline down here in Sussex. But education in schools, education in colleges, education at events, and certainly, whenever we have an opportunity, we're trying to push that. And I'll pass over to Darren in a minute to talk about some specific actions that are going on. But from my point of view, the other key point here is collaboration, working with other agencies to convey the message, whether it's on the coast or inland, to make sure that people are aware of the risks. Darren.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn. Just echo everything you said there and start off what you said about collaboration. So in our county, we have a really strong water safety forum, which obviously yourself with emergency planning is part of, Joe, Canal and River Trust. We have a local search and rescue, RNLI, RLS, Environment Agency. So it's really important that we have those partners involved, because the amount of water we've got here in Northamptonshire. Obviously, we've got the canal network in the south. We've got the River Nen that runs through the county. The Grand Union Canal, we've got a number of reservoirs. So there's a large amount of water in the county. So sort of collaboration with partners is key. Specifically around our role with fire and rescue. Obviously, fire and rescue in this county are responsible for inland rescue, and education is key, as Dawn said. I mean, one of the things from the drowning report, I think Dawn probably seen it as well, is a really sharp, marked increase in the amount of young people that are casualties through drowning. So education is really important. So our work in fire and rescue, it starts in schools. That's where we'll go in and we'll do water safety education, right through to, we run a scheme that Dawn will be aware of as well, called Waterside Responder. So we'll work with businesses and waterside communities to sort of equip them to act as like a first responder should somebody find themselves in water. But yeah, we understand. I mean, water pastimes are really, really popular with people. There's been like a sharp uptake in open water swimming since the pandemic, and paddleboarding. They're all really, really, really popular. But what we want to push is that people do it sort of responsibly and safely. So, for example, with open water swimming, if you access the Northamptonshire Sport website, you can find where they do supervised sessions. So there's sort of lifeguards on duty. So we really, really encourage anyone. Open water swimming is great, but go along and do it with experts and kind of do it in a safe way.
Thank you, Darren. Thanks, Dawn, for that. I think it is really important, and I know on part of your group, Darren, and like Dawn said, education and making sure that people are aware. I know, I think you mentioned the Threshers Week. Our new university is just by the river, and yeah, it's really important to get that message out. Now, I want to come on to fire safety next, Tina. I know it was back. It was one of the early ones this week. Talk about fire safety and what people can do to prepare themselves at home if you do have a fire in your home and what to do. Can you explain a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, certainly. So obviously we spend a lot of our time kind of preaching about being prepared for fire. I mean, what we'd prefer people to do obviously is we take all the precautions and encourage people to try and live as safely as possible, so they don't have to have that end result where a fire does happen. But we know that accidents happen, and sometimes it's nothing you could have prepared for. It might be an electrical fault in a product, it might be something to do with your wiring, it might not be that you've left cooking unattended or something, your candles. So you might have taken every precaution, there's still been an accident, and we know accidents happen. So we just encourage people really to get themselves ready. So what what do they do? Do they already, if they've taken all the precautions they need, so they've already got the smoke alarms, they're going to get as early warning as possible. So if there is an issue, they're going to know about it, hopefully before there's too much smoke in the property, so they can still get out and get out safely. We want them to make their fire escape plan. We want them to talk that through with everybody that lives or stays in their house with them, so that everybody knows what to do. And we really want them to have practiced it. So if they can have actually set the fire alarm off when all the children go to bed one night, make everybody get up and have a little practice of what they do, then everybody is going to be aware. People are going to panic less when they wake up. If there are people that are not as mobile or people that sleep through the alarm, it's a very known fact that teenagers sometimes don't hear that pitch of alarm, so they may sleep through it. And if you've got people that have got hearing impairments, make sure there's a way, or somebody in the house is responsible for them being able to get up. If there's nobody in the house that can help them, they've got their own facilities like a vibrating pad or a flashing strobe light to help them know that there's an issue in the house, so that everybody knows what to do. Everybody can get out of the property quickly as possible, and they know that someone's responsible for having a phone on them, so that they can sort of ring us as soon as they get out. And we always say, don't ever explore or try and look for it or see what's going on. Just take yourself out the property and ring from the outside. Anything in that property is replaceable, but you're not. So we need to make sure that you're outside. If you do keep yourself your grab bag, and if that is by the door, and your keys are really handy, so you know how to easily get out. We don't want people searching for things. But equally, we often sort of say, police safety wise, security wise, we don't need you hanging your keys right by your door, because we know that can have a sort of contradiction about safety. So keep them somewhere that you know where they are. You don't have to go rummaging and looking for them, and then you can get out as quickly as possible, and you can be prepared for that. But like we said, it starts early on with all of that preparation. So knowing all the fire safety stuff, maybe having a home fire safety visit so you can get prepared, knowing about candle safety, electrical safety, cooking safety, so that you can do these things as safely as possible. But if there is then the worst to happen sometime because there is an accident, then obviously you're sort of prepared and know what to do. We also got one of our busiest times of the year coming up. We've got Halloween, we've got bonfire night, and then we've got Christmas. So lots of other risks coming into factor, lots of other things being plugged in houses, lots of fire loading with all presents and stuff sort of in houses, real Christmas trees, and all of that stuff that kind of can increase the fire risk. So it's just about, obviously, we don't like being sort of preaching about it and sounding like we're kind of being killjoys in terms of don't hang your decorations here and make sure there's no candles under here. But obviously it is about thinking about those things ahead of time, just so you can have those celebrations as safely as possible, because we know that obviously fireworks can be dangerous, and we try and encourage people to go to organised displays as opposed to having them in their garden. At Christmas we encourage people to use don't get out lights that you've kind of had for 20 years and kind of put those back up. LEDs lights are much safer, the ones that you get sort of nowadays that don't get hot. So it's kind of all those things. There's plenty of information on our website and loads of stuff, kind of leaflets available that we'll be giving out. We've got cost of living at the moment causing people an issue. We've got people finding very ingenious ways of heating their homes that might not cost as much. So we've obviously got that to think about in the winter as well, in terms of people maybe gathering their own wood for fires, using fires that they perhaps haven't had a chimney swept, because it's very expensive to have chimneys swept. So it's all those kind of things that we're trying to kind of now think about. How can we help people to stay safer? We've had people bringing barbecues in and trying to not use their gas, and they're cooking on a barbecue. Obviously you've then got your CO poisoning kind of added to that, as well as a fire risk. So it's all of these things that we're kind of trying to get information out to people, and they can call us, or like I said, just go onto our website and have a look, or organise a home safety visit. We've got a great online tool that's on our website where they can check their own house and go through a home fire safety visit themselves, and that'll go through room by room what they can do to keep themselves safer. So yeah, we've got lots of information out there as well.
Thanks, Tina. I know when my children were little, I went through doing a fire safety check, and they all said where, which rooms were there and how they would get out the house. I'm in a dormer bungalow, so the ones upstairs, do you jump out the window? Can you get out the access to the window? And you made a little game of it, which was quite good. Now we have got grab bag day on Monday, so that's coming up about what to put in your grab bag. But I think that's quite important that we have something ready. So if you do need to get out, that people can just pick it up and go, because you don't want to be, like you said, you don't want to go back and get stuff. So you can have copies of your insurance documents, your important documents in your grab bag. So yeah, that's on Monday coming up. But can I ask, has everybody got a grab bag by your door? Yeah.
It's in
We
my
have
car.
got, yeah, yes, I've got a grab bag in my car too. It's yeah, no, so it's quite important. So there'll be some good discussion on Monday around grab bags, but also information about what medicines you might be on. Because I know sometimes when people are evacuated, they'll come to the local authority, come to one of our reception centres, but people have left medications at home. But if they've got it written down or any, some in their grab bag, they'll know what they need. So thanks for that, Tina. Now we're going to come on to road safety now. I don't know, is that you, Tina, or Darren, that want to sort of talk about road safety? But today's Road Safety Day, and it's all about be bright, be seen. So we are getting dark. It's getting darker quicker, although it looks really bright outside at the moment with all this sun shine in September. But kids are going back to school. The evenings are getting darker. Try and encourage people to wear something bright. I mean, the amount of times I drive down a street and I see people on bikes with no lights, and they're just wearing all black. And it's really important that at this time of year people are wearing something bright. So I'll pass over to Tina.
So Darren's probably best to answer this one.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've done quite a lot of work, and I know Darren will kind of explain the work he's done around the kind of schools work, because there's a lot that goes on in schools, and they partner with kind of an organisation called Bright Kids as well, which helps kind of to kind of partnership work with in terms of sort of safety. We've got obviously our county council road safety team, and they run a scheme called Road Safety Heroes, which obviously again is by encouraging schools to nominate pupils to be their road safety heroes to do that work. And I'll pass over to Darren because he's done some fabulous work in terms of kind of because it's obviously with us, it's parking outside of schools has a double edge because fire engines can't get through, but also we know that children get knocked over in that kind of sort of pick up and drop off time. So I'll pass over to Darren to tell you about his schemes.
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, as Tina said, we work in partnership with NSRH, which is Northamptonshire Safer Road Alliance, which is ourselves, police, Kier Highways, and our councils. And one of the issues we had that Tina's just alluded to is parking outside schools. And I'd imagine that's probably not unique to Northamptonshire. That's probably, right across the country. So we were finding particular pinch points at dropping off and picking up times where the parking around schools would be really unsafe. And we've got a good system now where we actually ask schools to report to us when there's issues building up, when they're having near misses and things like that. We want them to get in touch with us. So one of the things that we can do in addition to doing that education with the students and their parents as well, that's quite important because it's the adults that drive the cars, isn't it? Not the children. Is we've got a scheme called Parking Buddies. So basically, it's these sets we've got of little signs that look like children and banners and things like that we can actually put outside school as like physical signs that there's young people in the area and they're crossing the road. So they're really bright and they're really visible, and we can loan these to schools for a period of time and then encourage schools to get their own parking buddies set. So we find when we put them out and you combine that with visits from ourselves and the police, really push home that message about safe parking outside schools. So that's kind of one example, but we do quite a lot. I mean, most people in the Colliery are aware of the fire service's response to RTC's road traffic collisions and what we do to save people. But again, going back to Dawn's original point about the education side, that's really important to us as well. So there's sort of specialist education things we do. So a couple of examples is we have a program called My Pink Trainers, which is aimed at young people who have started to drive or just about at that age where they can drive. And it's based on a very, very sad story of an actual real life incident here in the county where sadly a young girl lost her life. and we find it's really kind of impactful with young people because it's based on real events. And moving there right up to the other spectrum, a couple of weeks ago we ran what we call our mature drivers event. So it's an event that's aimed at mature drivers to keep them driving safer for longer. So we'll have an all-day event where we'll invite mature drivers along. They can listen to different partners like ourselves, Institute of Advanced Motorists, police, really, and it's all aimed at keeping older people driving longer and safer. So we'll talk about things like changes to the highway code that they might not have come across if they've been driving for a long time, smart motorways, because there's so many things are sort of happening and different. So we understand road safety education is really important, but we also understand there's certain groups that will have certain needs, so we try and do different programs from there.
I was just going to add in, so it's absolutely right. The roads in Northamptonshire, actually, the roads are quite good generally, although you've got some rural roads, but you've got a lot of dual carriageway and motorways. You compare and contrast that with places like Lincolnshire and down here in Sussex, where they're really rural roads and quite bendy and usually closed in by high hedgerows. And of course we've got the large sweeping coastal roads which are quite fast, and we have a lot of problems with motorcycle accidents down here. People who come for a blast along the coast, and Be Seen is also a really relevant campaign for motorcyclists, because you remember those old campaigns, think once, think twice, think bike. Making sure you're really visible is really important, and sadly a lot of bikers, particularly if it's the edge of night and they're out with a black helmet and a black biking gear, they can get easily missed. So encouraging bikers to have something on them that's either illuminating or fluorescent, or vary and contrast the colours that they're wearing so that they can be spotted by cars is a really important point.
Yeah, that is a good point, Dawn. Thanks for that. So they're our main topics for as summary for this week. One thing we're going on to tomorrow is Prepared Pets. Now, this is always quite a good day for 30 Days 30 Ways UK, because people share their pictures of the pets, which is always a good thing. And people have also shared their pets in high vis as well. So when they're taking your dog out for a walk, they've got high vis, which is great. So when we talk a bit about grab bags, it's don't forget to try and include something for your pets. So if you have to evacuate, you'll bring your pets with you. We've found a lot of times where we've opened reception centres up, we've had dogs and cats, we've had hamsters which have got loose in the centre and have been running around, but people do not want to be parted from their loved pet, so they'll be bringing them. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow to talk about to listen to what you can do to prepare your pet for an emergency as well. One thing that I want to quickly come around to talk to you about is Sunday we're talking about offline entertainment. So if we have a power cut and we have to rely on not using the tablets, not using the televisions to watch, what I'm going to come around, I'll come to Tina, Darren, and then Dawn. What would you do with your family for offline entertainment? How would you keep your children occupied if that was the case? What would you be doing? So I'll come to Tina first.
So our favourite is board games and cards, and we have a massive cupboard. It's actually a double cupboard of board games. And they range back throughout the ages. So there's some real classics in there, and they absolutely everyone loves getting out all of the old board games. We've got about 12 different editions of Monopoly, because we've got the Northamptonshire one and all of the sort of different limited edition ones that came out. So we've got some cracking games. I mean, something like Monopoly family literally can last you 4 hours. So you can be playing a game and before you know it, 3 or 4 hours has gone. So amazing entertainment. And then we've got some of the more sort of funnier card games. We've got some really strange games, just things that will really kind of keep them entertained. Some are noisy, some are more quiet ones, depending on kind of what kind of atmosphere is like in the home at the time. But yeah, as kind of day wears on, if you've had like a whole day of power cut, then potentially it'll sort of get to the more kind of quieter games as we kind of shift the day. But yeah, the classics like Monopoly, Cluedo, Ludo, even Kaplunk comes out, so it's just great to kind of get things, and everyone joins in as well. It's kind of doesn't matter what age is in the family, they'll all join in with those kind of games. So even if we've got nothing else, even if you've got a pack of cards, you can still make up some cracking games with just a cheap packet of cards. So yeah, my favorite card game's got to be Uno though, so that's definitely a winner.
I was going to say that is my all-time favourite. My family and I love Uno, and we've got loads of packets of Uno. Darren, I'll come to you next.
Yeah, a lot similar to Tina. We've still got some card, and I've still got an old original Connect 4 game that comes out as well. It's really popular. So yeah, we definitely do that. And then I think one of the other things as well, it just gives you quality time to talk, doesn't it? Because sometimes life is just so busy, and people get in at different times and things like that. And you know sometimes people's kids tend to go in the bedrooms, never come back out again, or go out with their friends, you never see them again. So you've got that kind of opportunity to like connect and have a good chat, which is quite sort of priceless as well.
Yeah, I think everyone should have an offline entertainment every week. I think it will help. Dawn.
Well, I have to confess that my kids are beyond the kid stage. They're all adults and some of them have got kids of their own. So I probably don't have to entertain them quite so much as I used to be honest. But we're quite an outdoorsy sort of family. So if it's daytime, then it's get outside, go for a walk, take the dogs out, get out in the fields and do something. Yeah, a bit of a ramble, go for a different route. We've got some great countryside, and of course we've got the coast, so we can get down to the beach as well, which is a bonus. Not quite so easy in Northamptonshire. But the other thing, I guess, when the kids were little, and this probably when mine were little, it was we were a little bit less dependent, if you will, on electronic devices and the internet to entertain us, as well as the games which Tina and Darren have highlighted. Ours were actually quite avid book readers, so I always made sure that I had, plenty of library books, because you could just churn them over, and then a few sort of. Well, I will confess, and this won't surprise those of you that know me, I have a collection of about 14 different water safety books that I take out to schools and read stories, and I've acquired them from all over the world. People kind of get to know that I particularly on National Book Day, I do a few readings and put them up online, and I get sent books. So occasionally I might even, now my kids are older, I might even commandeer them to start doing a few book recordings for me. That's a good idea. I'll have to get onto that one when they're back for Christmas.
That's a great idea. That's brilliant. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you all very much for your time that you've given today. There's a lot of information that we've spoken about on local websites. So just encourage people to go onto websites and search for your local council, local fire and rescue service to find out more information. The next panel is, the fourth panel is next Friday at 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye. We don't have to go. I'll cut all that off. Thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Darren, as well. Thank you.
No problem.
Welcome. Lovely to see everyone.
Yeah, nice to see you all.
Nice to see you all too. Don't forget, Jo, can you stick the Staywise access in for as well? I forgot to mention it, but
Staywise.
Staywise, there's some good stuff for road safety, water safety and fire safety on there for people.
Yeah, okay, I'll put that in with the link with the YouTube Clip. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Cheers,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
everyone.
Take
Good
care.
weekend.
Bye.
Thanks, Jo.
Bye.
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 Bye.